Hey there, my name is Dr. Drew Brazier. I want to share with you my personal story about my faith transition and what it looked like for me while helping other people, and just on a very personal level. So we go back several years, whenever I was just a little young kid. Youngest of 7 kids, and we're all a very athletic family. And wonderful family in many different ways. I really had the focus as a kiddo to get on that mission. I used to wear the little future missionary badges, and I was super gung-ho about that. All my family, we were all athletes. A lot of us played sports in college, and for me, I played football in college, and there was no way that I was going to let football stop me from going on a mission. I really wanted and had great aspirations to go and to do that. And then I went on my mission and kind of put a halt to the football playing career in college, and absolutely loved that time of my life. I came back from the mission, served my hardest in the mission, loved the people, was in South America, and, served. And I really didn't want to be in leadership, to be honest with you. But I did serve the last several months of my mission as an assistant to the president. But the funny thing is the president knew that wasn't top of my list to be, a leader in the mission. I just wanted to go out there and work hard and love people and serve as much as I possibly could. But I did it anyway, and it was a great experience. Had many, many great companions. I came home and got married to my best friend, who happened to also serve in my mission. And I know in the LDS culture, it's like, oh, you guys served the same mission. No, it wasn't one of those situations. But we were great friends and fell in love and have continued to have a great relationship. Now, we got married, the year I got back from the mission, actually. And as we got married, we were deciding where to go for graduate school. We ended up in Colorado, which was an awesome experience. And one semester into graduate school, I was 23 or 24. We were in a family ward. I was called into a bishopric and ordained a high priest at that point. And to be honest with you, it scared the crud out of me. I had no idea what I was doing. There was a great bishop, great first counselor, and I was just kind of doing anything and everything I could to not screw everything up. But I tried really hard. I took any calling that I had very, very seriously, gave it my best effort, and worked as hard as I possibly could. Go to the temple every week to figure out inspiration to do better, and would consistently read in my scriptures and pray and doing everything that I possibly could to serve. We went through graduate school. I studied in clinical psychology, emphasized in health psychology, and also later an emphasis in trauma and performance. And so kind of had a very interesting career. But I was studying psychology, and at the end of graduate school, we moved to another place within Colorado. And I guess I should say, by the time I graduated from earning my doctorate, I'd also served in the stake young men's presidency, which was an awesome experience to be around such cool youth who were trying their hardest. And then when we did move after graduate school, started up, as a young professional, starting my own practice, starting my own business, and it was a great experience, but it became more busy with church callings. I was called into the High Council, and I was still in my 20s and trying to figure things out. And anyway, by the time actually I got called into the High Council, I'd served as young men's president as well. And I'm trying to think, just various callings and leadership positions. But when I was on the High Council, I started to have some concerns that were very genuine. I saw some ways that things were done that made me wonder, wow, Why would somebody say that? And in a leadership position now, I've made a conscious effort to never judge a leader in that sense. But there were some harsh things that were said that didn't make sense to me. And I just equated at first to, oh, it's just human error. They're doing the best that they can. But as time went on, there were some things that stuck that really made me question. So I actually met with a church leader, stake president, and shared my concerns. And he said, hey, go back to your foundational testimony. I'm like, okay, great. Like, that's about Joseph Smith, and that's the Book of Mormon. And so as I was serving as a young leader in this situation, I was also trying to strengthen my testimony. And I went into this a few years ago of trying to strengthen my own testimony. And it was intriguing because I had started to receive referrals as a clinician for faith transition. I taught some at a Buddhist university in their spiritual psychology department. I started to really think about this faith transition, but I never really considered I was in a faith crisis. It didn't really dawn on me at that moment that I was having a faith crisis, as I was helping many other people through theirs to either stay in or to transition out. Now, as I was doing that, I started to study more of, I wanted to know Joseph Smith better. I wanted to really just feel that conviction again, because there were different things that kind of threw me off. And as I did, I started to realize, as I started to look at history, I wasn't getting into hate stuff and all that, which most of us don't. I just wanted to know more of the historical background, to really get an objective perspective, to set up what that looks like, so that as I prayed to know and have a stronger conviction, I could envision it in my mind. And as I did, again, very innocently, I stumbled upon some other history that was very contradictory to what I knew growing up. Now, if you've gone through an LDS faith transition, you probably know where I'm going with this. But my story kind of took an interesting turn here, as all of ours do. We all have our stories, and honestly, as messy as they are, I think they're beautiful at the same right, and they should be shared. So here it is. I started studying more about Joseph Smith, realized, oh my gosh, I don't know that I believe he's a prophet, and that scared the pants off of me. And then I realized, whoa, the Book of Mormon. And what about that? Well, the way I went at it is I went at it in a way to strengthen my testimony for several months, actually for a few years, to say, no, I believe in this. In that few year span, I read the Book of Mormon 6 more times. I went to the temple at least on a monthly basis. Did everything to fight for it. Worked with some different professionals in my field to try to figure this out. Because here's the thing. I had committed to my wife that, hey, I'm going to be a strong priesthood holder, and I commit to you to, be in the church. And so, as sad as it was at this point, I wasn't going into detail about my faith crisis with her, because I was trying to fight against it. I was giving every last bit that I could to say, no, this is true. This other history and all these other things are just fabrications, and they're making the church look bad, and so on and so forth. All those justifications that I'm sure you have probably thought about. And I was committed, that I came to a point that no matter what, if my wife is staying in the church, I'm going alongside of her, because that's what I committed to her. Now, I don't judge anyone who hasn't been able to do that in their relationship. In fact, this process rips apart relationships, and it breaks my heart to see that. But sometimes that's what happens. But in this case, I wanted to fight for my relationship. I was really afraid that I didn't know what the reaction would be of my wife. I should have given her the benefit of the doubt, because I knew that she loved me more than just that. But I didn't know, because I was working professionally with many people in many situations, that relationships were falling apart because of this, and I was trying to help save them through a faith transition. So time came where I wasn't sharing with my wife. I was actually, serving, ended up even being called in the last days of activity in the church for me as ward mission leader. And it really hit a head for me where it just didn't feel right at all at that point. It came to a stopping point for me, but I was still going to try to continue in church. And my wife all the while was questioning God. She didn't know what I was questioning or really where I stood in that regard. But she started questioning God, which was totally different than my questioning. And she kind of got to a point where she was like, Drew, I think, I don't know if I can go to church. There's certain things that I just don't believe. And it wasn't just one thing. It wasn't, oh, I can't find Kolob, I'm out. Or, this one scripture or this one human error. It was some foundational things for her. And then she started to study some history stuff. I never shared with her, hey, go study this. I didn't feel like that was my responsibility. I respected her testimony. But she did. She went and studied, a lot to say, you know what, I need to give this a fair look. And as she did, she's a very smart person. She's very balanced. And she came to me one day and she said, I'm done. And it kind of shocked me. Didn't really know what to do. And in fact, there was fear in me. There was that grief process that was already starting. Or what does that mean for you? What does that mean for us? Well, what's been so beautiful about this process is we've been able to look at and define for us how it is that we want to move forward. What are the boundaries within our relationship? What are our personal boundaries? How can we build bridges with community? Because we have many great friends who are in the church. How do we go about this? And it's actually taken our relationship to the next level. And yeah, it did help, being a psychologist and, working with a lot of people with faith transition. It helped me knowing those things, but still as a person, it doesn't matter what professional tool you have. It hurts and it creates fear. The unknown is really hard. And then you think, I've got this. And then 2 days later, you're angry and you want to just burn down the world. It's like, the transition process cannot be understood until you've experienced it. Even when I started helping people through theirs, I had studied a lot in spiritual psychology and different faiths and religions. I didn't get it. Then I went through it. I was like, holy smokes. This is a whole different animal. But it can be beautiful. I hope you'll share your stories. I love to hear people's stories. There's many great podcasts out there that allow you to share your stories, different forums. I hope you'll share. And I hope you'll realize that we're in this together. I am a firm believer. You're my brother. You're my sister. I believe stronger in that now. It may look different than what LDS faith teaches about that, but I have a genuine love for you. And I hope that you'll share your story as well. I hope that you find this helpful. And honestly, I don't know how, but just hearing another perspective, hearing another story. I've had many people say, Drew, share your story. You have to share your story. And as a professional, I am opening up to more people about this is where I'm at. Whereas before, while I was going through a 3-year faith crisis, I didn't. I just said, no, I'm strong with the church. But whether you choose to stay in or stay out, I hope you know there are many people that want to hear you. There are many people that want to see you for who you are. And I hope you get a little bit out of this video. And I hope you know as well, there is a lot of hope. It may seem gray some days. Other days may seem like just totally elated. You may feel total fluctuations in mood and so on and so forth. But there is so much hope. So much. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope to chat more with you. And hope to talk a little bit more. All right, have a great day.